Good evening, guys. Good evening. Come on in. Hello, Mr. Jackson. How
Well,
are you?
we are here. Oh my God. Yes.
Yeah.
Hey. Okay, wait a minute. I'm having some difficulties, okay?
Okay.
But I am, let's see. We don't know what I didn't mean to get that. The piece I'm looking
Hi,
for.
Miss Crystal. How are you doing?
Who?
Thank you for joining us. Miss Crystal Staples is here with us.
Yes. Hello, Crystal. How are you? So we're good, Julia.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Well, we're going to get started in about 3 minutes. So, good evening, everyone. Come on in and make yourself comfortable. Um, I'm going to have me some water because my throat is a little dry and today.
Whew.
Um, you
That's
guys come
okay.
on in.
Can you hear
And
me,
as you come in,
Julia?
I can hear you. Yes, I
Okay.
can. As you come in, if you don't mind liking this video and sharing it, inviting a friend, because I think we're going to have a very engaging discussion tonight, and something that I think we'll all can get something out of and learn from. So, yeah, you guys just come on in. Come on in. Thank you for joining us this evening. It is 6:58, and we will be starting in at 7 o'clock p.m. Thank you, guys. I hope everyone has had a wonderful weekend, wonderful week. As for me, I've been battling allergies, and I'm just going to tell you guys that I'm talking to that's on here now. I have a prime example. Good evening, Vinny E. Thank you for joining. Prime example of being careful what people you allow people to speak over you. I went to the doctor on Monday and I was feeling just fine. I was going just to get a regular checkup. And he asked me, he said, "You're still taking your allergy medicine every day, you're singular." And I'm like, "Yes, I am." And he also asked me, he said, "Well, how's your allergies doing?" I said, "I'm fine. I feel just great." He said, "Okay, well, what I want you to do is go ahead and get your Flonase and start using that Flonase once a day in the morning, just one squirt of each nostril, just to prepare you for the spring allergens." And you know what? I woke up Tuesday. Oh, I was just clogged up. My head was stopped up. I said, that man spoke that sickness over me. And now I've been battling those allergies, but I am here. I do have my Flonase, and we're going to have push on in spite of. So, anyway, I just want to thank you guys for joining me. Uh, of course, I am Juju. Um, I am Juju, and I would like to welcome you to this week's edition of Let's Talk. I am your host, Juju, and I'm coming to you live tonight from my living room. Now, each week here on Let's Talk, we will discuss current events and their impact on the Black community. We will also highlight local Black-owned businesses, local entrepreneurs, local artisans, and upcoming events, which will give small businesses opportunity to showcase their products. Let's Talk is created to be a positive, uplifting, and informative discussion. All constructive opinions are welcomed as we must learn to listen to and consider the opinions of others, even if we don't agree with them. This isn't the place to tear down anyone, but it's a place to uplift and enlighten. Therefore, if your comments are not coming from a place of love and are not intended to uplift, we kindly ask. that you please find another forum for them. This is not intended to be a news show, but we will try our best to steer clear of gossip and things that are knowingly untrue, as we want unknowingly untrue, okay? And we hope that this is a safe space and everyone feels comfortable sharing their opinions. I am your host, and about your host, I am a sinner saved by grace. Every good and perfect part of me comes from God. Therefore, I praise Him and give Him glory anytime I'm given the opportunity. My motto is simple: I'm walking by faith, inspiring hope, and showing love all along the way. So I see Miss Chantel Milford with us. Hi, Chantel. Hello, Althea Thomas. Thank you for joining us this evening. Y'all, excuse me. Um, and when you come in, if you don't mind, please share and like this video. And I'm going to turn this over right this moment where we can highlight Electric Vogue by Crystal. Hold on one moment, please.
Okay, Julia, it's going to be okay. So, as you can see in the chat, I have highlighted our um, our special guest. We want to definitely highlight our small business, and the name of our small business that we're going to be highlighting this evening is Electric Vogue, with none other than Crystal Staples. So Crystal Staples is going to um, I don't have the power to invite you in. Hopefully, Julia. Oh, you're already here. Oh my God. Hello, Crystal. Welcome in.
Hi,
So, thank you so much
thank
for
you.
joining us. So, what I want to do is give you a few minutes to highlight and spotlight your business. Basically, we want to know who you are, what you do, and how we can support you, because it's all about the small businesses that make us great. So I'm going to turn it over to you and allow you to share that information with us. Thank you, Crystal, for joining us.
All right. Thank you, Jerry, and thank you, Miss Julia. My name is Crystal Staples, and my business is Electric Vogue by Crystal. This business started in October of 2020, and my focus was just on clothing. That didn't go so well, so right now my focus is mostly on handbags for women. I don't know if you all can see them. Could you all let me know? Can you all see any of the bags right now? You can?
Not yet. We cannot.
Okay. Okay.
Now
Can
we
you
can.
see them
Close.
now?
Yes,
Okay.
those are nice.
So these are just some of my products. I do have a few men accessories, like I do the men belts. I have a few men things, and sometimes I have wallets, but my main focus is purses. I have a few
Okay.
watches, and I'm kind of long-winded, and I'm not going to be, but that's my focus, just on accessories, just to accessorize your look.
Well,
We're all beautiful people, and we should look beautiful. We're beautiful on the inside, but it's nothing wrong with being beautiful on the outside either. So that
absolutely.
is what my business mostly consists of.
Wonderful. Okay, Crystal, so how can people contact you? Is there an Instagram or a Facebook page that we can highlight that information for you? Because um, I, I want to make sure that our audience, our listening audience, does have that opportunity to contact you when they're in
Okay.
need of those wonderful products that you have.
Okay. My contacts are, I have a Facebook page, my business page, Electric Vogue by Crystal. And I also post a lot of my things on my personal Facebook page, which is Crystal Staples. So you will see things on my Facebook page. You can go to Electric Vogue by Crystal. You can see my things. And if you see anything, you can just comment under the under the picture, or you can go into my messenger. And I don't have a store, of course, but what I do deliver all my products. And as of right now, I don't charge a delivery fee or anything, or if I can just meet you. So your product will definitely get to you in a timely manner.
Okay, thank you so much, Crystal. So I want to make sure that is electric, Electric. I think I misspelled it, so I'm going to go back and correct that. It's Electric by Crystal. Is that correct?
Electric Vogue by Crystal.
Thank you so much,
You said it
Crystal.
right here.
And I apologize.
Thank you, Crystal.
Thank you all.
Thank you,
Thank
thank you, thank you.
you all so much. I
All right.
appreciate it.
You have a good one at any time. Thank you.
Thank you, Crystal.
You so much, you too. Thank
Absolutely.
you.
Absolutely. So please note that all during this broadcast, we want you to think about Electric Vogue by Crystal as she is trying to make her business a little bit more prominent in our community. So let's go out and support her. Again, her Facebook is Electric Vogue by Crystal. She has many different items for men and women, purses, belts, and many other accessories. So thank you, Crystal. At this time, we're going to go ahead and turn it back over to our illustrious host, Julia Ardeen Thomas, who is going to come to us and talk to us a little bit about a very hot topic at this time. Should it be a crime to raise a criminal? I love that. There's so much involved in that. And what we want you to do is post your questions in chat, and I will be producing, and I'll pause. And if there are any questions, a commentary that you would have, at that time I will pause and entertain your questions and share them with our host so that no one gets missed. For all of you that have joined a little bit later, thank you so much for joining. Please click like and share this video with all of your friends. Welcome them in, and let's have a really good, intellectual, articulate, and wonderful conversation. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to our wonderful host, Julia Ardeen Thomas. That I don't know what kind of slayer she is, but she's some kind of slayer.
Mountain
So let's
Moving Giant Slayer. All
thank
right,
you
thank
so
you,
much.
Mr. Jackson. You saved my life because you saw I was going down and I was going downhill fast. But I got my cough drop. Y'all see, I told y'all that Dr. jinxed me, but I got my cough drop. I got my Flonase in. I'm ready to go. Okay, so tonight's discussion, and like Mr. Jackson said, we're going to have a kind of different little format. So we'll go back to Mr. Jackson periodically just to look at the questions and comments that viewers have, so we can make sure we entertain everyone. Hey, Marcine Cooper Gordon, thank you for joining us. Joyce Thomas Vincent, Janet Thomas. Hey, Janet, thank you for joining us. If you guys would please click the like button and share, because tonight we're going to have a very powerful discussion. We're going to talk about should a parent, it shouldn't be a crime to raise a criminal. And basically the question is, should a parent be held criminally liable for the actions of their minor child? Now, we know once they're grown and they're responsible for their own actions. And you all, please forgive me for being half naked on here, but I had to take that shirt off. It was making me hot and I was coughing, and I'm sorry. But anyway, should they be held responsible for the actions of their minor children? Okay, so first of all, let us discuss a recent crime. Well, the crime actually happened in 2021, but recently Jennifer Crumbley was found guilty of manslaughter because her son Ethan Crumbley committed a mass murder back in 2021. It was in Michigan. and he committed a mass shooting at school. Okay. And so his mom and his dad has not faced trial yet, or his trial is just beginning. His mom's just finished. They were both charged with manslaughter, involuntary manslaughter. And um, the charge was based on the fact that they failed to secure a gun, and he had access to the gun. Actually, they had purchased the 9mm gun for him. How many of you all have heard about the Crumley case? It's been in the news, and it really struck me because I am not a parent, but I'm sure parents probably have a strong feeling about that one way or the other. Should you be held responsible for your minor child's actions? And we know that the law does allow for it, although most of the time parents are not charged criminally for what their children do. A lot of times they are uh, held responsible through civil trials, meaning they have to pay out financially as a result of their child's actions. Y'all, excuse me, I'm so sorry. These allergies are kicking me today. But anyway, so anyway, with the Crumley trial, the father had purchased the son the gun for a Christmas present. Black Friday, went 9mm. 4 days later, he went to school, killed four of his classmates, schoolmates, and injured 7 others. And then the young man was 15 years old when, at the time that the crime had occurred. But there were some other things going on with it. It wasn't just that he committed the crime. There were also warning signs. The day before he did the shooting, he had been called in class searching about purchasing ammunition. And when the school contacted the mother, she texted her son, "I'm not mad at you, laugh out loud. You just have to learn not to get caught." Okay? And then the next day, the day of the shooting, the child had drawn some pictures, okay, in school, and he had pictures of guns, and he had pictures of people being shot, and lots of blood and murder. I mean, violence in the pictures. And then he had on the page, "The thoughts won't stop. Help me. My life is useless. The world is dead. Blood everywhere." The school called the parents. The parents came to the school. They talked to the young man, and the school asked them to take him home. They refused. They said they'll get him some counseling within 48 hours. They left him there. In a few hours, he had committed this heinous crime. So, anyway, our question is, how do you guys feel about that? And did anyone watch the Crumley trial? And I focus on that because I think in that, when the mother was found guilty, she was found guilty of 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter. And so what we're dealing with today is, how do you feel about that? Do we have any questions, any comments, Mr. Jackson? Any comments thus far that we want to look at?
Yes, we do. And Tavius has said that he, in his opinion, yes, failure as a parent. That was one of his statements. Then Crystal Staples is asking, how old was the child? I think you may
He
have
was
already.
15. Mm-hmm.
think you addressed that. So I think we are up to par.
Okay. Okay.
And Antavius Lipscomb has said not solely.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't know specifically. I think he's referencing are parents solely responsible for raising children.
Okay.
And he said not solely. So I want to make sure, and Crystal Staples says the school shouldn't have allowed the parents to make the call of him staying at school. So
Okay.
thank you so much for these comments. Keep them coming, and we'll continue to pause and give you an opportunity. Julia, would you like to expound on those comments before you continue moving?
Okay. So, yeah, um, uh, we have different um perspectives on that. And in the trial with Crumley, a lot of uh, the mother's attorney wanted to shift a lot of the blame to the school. My question is, who's responsible? First of all, do parents bear the sole responsibility for raising their children? And Althea said that she watched some of that trial, and she said that they should have been found guilty. I think the mother and father should have been found guilty. The father hadn't been on trial yet, because to me they just really like it's not to me the mom, and maybe it was her attorneys, maybe that was their defense. I don't know if that was really what she was thinking, but like it's really not my responsibility. The school bared more responsibility. And I do think that the school dropped the ball in that too, because when the boys drawing all these pictures and stuff, they have his book bag in their hands. They have possession of it. No school official ever looked in the child's book bag to see that a pistol was in there. The gun was in there the whole time. The principal had the gun, and then he gave it back to the child. So, but who bears, do parents bear the sole responsibility of raising their children, or is the society or other people that the children come in contact with, do they also, is it a shared responsibility? What do you guys think about that? Is it the sole responsibility of the parent, or is it a shared responsibility? Hello, Miss Beverly Jordan. How are you doing today? Okay, that's my first question. Are parents solely responsible for raising their children, or is it a shared responsibility? Anybody have any thoughts on that tonight? Is it a shared responsibility, or do the parents have have the sole responsibility of raising their kids? And then what about the question of nature versus nurture? Are some children just inherently criminal? Are some people born predisposed to commit criminal acts? Or is their environment, or is their behavior a result of their environment? What do you guys think? Are people predisposed to commit criminal acts, or is it a result? Their behavior, is the behavior a result of their environment? Anybody have any thoughts on that? Well, me personally, I think it's a combination of the two. I think that people are predisposed to some things, but then I also think that a lot of behavior is learned behavior. Let me give you an example. Okay, so I kind of old, so every time I get up, ooh, she watching. Every time I can get up out the chair, but I say the word, ooh, she watching. Every time I get up. And it was just a subconscious thing that I was saying. So my nieces and nephews were playing with my little god baby. And I don't know, she was probably less than 2 years old at the time. But anyway, she's crawling from under a table. And she's crawling under the table. And when she gets up, getting up from under the table, she said, "Ooh, she watching." Now, I know that that's a learned behavior, and I know she learned it from me. So I had to check myself and like, "Ooh, I better watch what I'm saying." So, what do you guys think? Nature versus nurture? Are people predisposed to commit criminal acts, or is it their what how they are raised, their environment, or is it a combination? What my people at tonight? Joyce, Thomas, Vincent, Edgar, Beverly, Jordan, you always got something good to say. Help me out here. What are y'all thinking about this? Um, Beverly says, yes, some are predisposed to criminal acts. A bent or damaged chromosome will cause behavioral disorders. Okay, a bent or damaged chromosome. Okay. Well, all right then, Miss Beverly. Okay, and Vinny E says some studies show a genetic connection. Okay, so um Vinny E, you're the scientist. When you say a genetic connection, do you mean it's passed down? Is it in your composition, your DNA? Crystal says yes. It's the parents' responsibility, but not in all cases they should be jailed. It shouldn't be a shared responsibility because everyone doesn't have the tools to do so. If the parents don't if the parents don't have the tools and it's their responsibility to obtain them. It's not my responsibility to raise others' children. I can give help if needed. I agree with you 100%. If it's not easy raising a child, and especially in this world, in this society that we live in today, it's not easy at all. And that is something that people should think about when they're having kids. That it's rough. And do I have the equipment? Do I have the support system? All of these different things. Am I going to be able to nurture my child? Yeah, so it is the parents' responsibility. At the end of the day, I agree with you. Now, I think we should be mindful of how we conduct ourselves in the presence of other people's kids, though. I think we do have that responsibility as a society. Um, to be mindful because kids do watch and they see and they pick up everything. I know, Janet, you out there, you can attest to the fact that Journey picks up absolutely everything. When you think she's not watching, when you think she's not listening, then you go back and she has commentary on something that you didn't even think she was paying any attention to. Kids are sponges. They soak up everything. So we have to be careful what we expose our children to. And then we have to respect children. Respect other people's children. Um, Vinny E says, I'm not sure how heritable criminality is, but people can be genetically predisposed to crime. Okay, all right. And Janet, yes, indeed, they are sponges. All righty, all right, so our question is, should the parents be held responsible for their child's crime? Okay, and there are some pros and cons according to the experts, but I want you guys to consider these. First of all, experts say if parents know that they will be held responsible for their children's inappropriate actions. They will see to it that children are well supervised and cared for. If they know if the child go out and get in trouble, I'm going to go to jail for that, or I can go to jail for that, then they're going to be more likely to supervise their kids. Do you all think that that is the case, or not? Now, I um I can recall when I was younger, when I was growing up as a child, um when the 10 o'clock news came on every night, it started with, "It's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your children are?" Parents were do you know where your children are? And I think that's a question we need to start asking again. Where are our children? What are they doing? And then now we got all these devices, we can track them, keep up with them, but a lot of times people still don't have a clue where their kids are or what they're doing. Crystal, these are not the old days. Villages aren't raising children anymore. How can they when the village is broken? You are correct about that. You are correct about that. But yeah, so um, like I was saying, when I was younger, it's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your children are? This fall that just passed, I was working in the fair, parking cars, work at the fair. And it was Saturday night, last night of the fair. And it's like 9 o'clock, and people are bringing kids and dropping them off. It's 9 o'clock at night and you're dropping kids off. And I'm thinking to myself, this is just me thinking, if I have to drop my child off, if they're not old enough to drive or come with a friend, then it's too late for me to be bringing them to the fair and dropping them off. First of all, we wouldn't, if we were that young that we couldn't drive or ride with a friend, my parents were gonna be at the fair with me, period, point blank, and we were gonna come during the day and we was gonna go. But anyway, um, they dropping kids off, and I'm thinking it's too late to be dropping your child off. If you're gonna bring them, then you need to stay with them, be with him. And of course, by 10 o'clock, they were shutting the fair down cause kids in there fighting. And then all these parents rushing back, and one lady about to run me over. I'm trying to get my kid. I'm like everybody else out here trying to get their kid, but you shouldn't have dropped your child off um uh this time of night. Hello, Big Jeff. How are you doing? Thank you for joining. Y'all, my big brothers on tonight. I feel so special. Beverly Christian Jordan says, y'all have to forgive me. I don't recall the proper name, but to give an example of the chromosome issue, a guy born with 3X chromosomes becomes a serial rapist. Oh, really? Wow. Okay. Um, the genetic composition can predispose people to crimes. So so tell me, Miss Jordan, given that you recognize these facts, how do you feel? Do you think a parent should be held criminally responsible for their child's behavior? What do you think? Janice says many parents are so young and they can't teach their children what they don't know. This is true, and some older ones don't know. And so, we have gotten so far away from the village and grandma and them helping and showing and teaching their kids. But Beverly, I was just curious as to know, do you think, considering the genetic composition, or anybody, not just Beverly, considering the fact that she said there is a genetic component to criminality. Should a parent be held criminally responsible for what their child does? Because, okay, I'm a person, I have been the victim of a crime by a child. Vinnie E says, scripture says that misbehavior is bound in the heart of a child, and it is up to the parents through discipline to drive it out. Okay? It's the lack of discipline, and it seems to me in the Crumley case, there was definitely some lack of discipline, because if your response to your child on the school computer violating, looking up ammunitions for how to buy ammunition for guns is laugh out loud, I'm not mad, just you're gonna have to learn not to get caught. There's some lack of discipline in that right there. But in order to discipline someone, you have to be disciplined yourself. You have to have some self-discipline, some restraint. Because if you're going to put somebody, your child on punishment, a lot of times that means that you are on punishment with that child. Because, okay, you can't go nowhere. That means I can't go nowhere. We all got to stay at home. So, but it requires some discipline. And Crystal says, with the facts Beverly have given, the answer is no to the parents going to jail. Okay, so Crystal, let me give you this example, because like I said, I have been victim of a crime by a minor. Okay, and in this instance, a minor broke into my house. Okay, and stole some things, tore up some things, and whatnot. But the fact of the matter is, once this had happened, we're trying, the police come, they do the fingerprints and everything. We're trying to figure out, okay, who broke into the house. One of my brother's friends that he goes to the gym with, or was going to the gym with, inquired about the crime. And him and my brother talked for a while. And then he said, oh, that was nobody but my grandson. That's what he does, go around breaking into people's houses. So obviously, you knew what your child was doing. Obviously, you had no desire, or no, I don't know what the word is, but you did not stop your child from doing this if this is something that the child did repeatedly over and over and over and over again. I wanted the parent to be held responsible, because my thought was, you knew this is your child. Instead of you reining your child in, doing whatever you have to do, if I got to say, y'all put them in detention or whatever, if I can't control them, then put them in detention, whatever. You go from house to house, from neighborhood to neighborhood with this young man breaking into people's houses. And you know what's going on. So I just kind of think, for me, it's a mixed bag. But I'm not a child. But I will tell you this also. Now, these are criminal activities. I personally know a couple of parents. Me, I'm a social worker. So I know a couple of parents who have spent the entire summer in lockup because their child was not going to school. Okay? So if you will put the parent in jail because the child is not going to school, but the child goes out and murders somebody, you know they got a gun. Should you be held responsible? Is it a greater crime for, tell me, what you all think about it. Am I missing something? Because like I said, I'm not a parent. I am not a parent. I have played one on TV. No, just kidding. But to me, if you're going to go to jail for your child not going to school, but you have no criminal responsibility if your child, you know your child has a gun, you know your child shooting in people's houses, you know your child is out here doing things that they have no business doing, you have no responsibility in that. I don't think that parents should be automatically responsible. In the Crumbley case, negligence was demonstrated because the potential was there and they provided the weapon. Yeah, the potential was definitely there. It was proven, documented that the young man had issues, animal cruelty, all of those things, those red flags that they tell you to look at. So you think, Vinny E., you're saying it's a case by case basis. And I guess basically that's probably the answer as it is to most things. There's no black or white. Um, the second thing professionals say is if parents are held responsible for children's actions, it will lead to improved family life. And of course, an improved family life, um, an improved family life. Mr. Jackson says, I do not believe that if I am parenting my child to the best of my ability and my child goes out and commits a crime, I should not be held responsible. There are so many reasons why children commit crimes. Um, wait a minute. There are so many reasons why children could lack of rearing the child correctly, peer pressure, bullying, self-confidence, and a myriad of issues that cause children to act inappropriately. I strongly disagree with the parents should be held criminally responsible because of their behavior. Okay, and um, let's see. Okay. And I think a lot of people feel the same way that you do, Mr. Jackson. And you said that parental intervention happens, but some children just don't care. And that is true too. Um, let us see. If a parent is held responsible for the children's action, it leads to an improved family life. That is one of the that's one of the pros, or what the expert says the pros are for this. Crystal said in some cases, parents are and have done everything possible to raise a productive child. This child gets into trouble and he should be held accountable. If the parent knows or is being negligent, then in parenting, jail time is an option. Duchess say, I agree with what Edgar said. Sometimes parents are clearly negligent, but sometimes parents are doing their absolute best, but children make bad choices. And that is true. Adults make bad choices. And of course, children being young and impressionable, they make bad choices. And that was some of the cons against it. They were saying that parents can't watch their children 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You do your very best to teach them. And in the Crumbley case, like you were saying, there was a pattern basically of negligence, and there were so many opportunities for them to intervene and to stop this. And Cassandra says it has to be a case by case basis, and I agree with you. Um, who or what determines a parents are negligent? Well, I don't know, Mr. Jackson, if you had seen any of the things from this case, but then also let's not just look at this one. 6-year-old child goes to school with a gun, shoots and kills his classmate. Should the parent be held responsible? And I don't, in that case, for me, I don't need any other facts. 6-year-old goes to school with a gun. Where does a 6-year-old get a gun? Okay? Somebody, I don't need any, you don't have to tell me anything else about your home life. 6-year-old goes to school with a gun, shoots and kills his classmate. The child cannot be held responsible at 6 years old. The laws won't even allow you to charge a child at 6-year-old with crimes such as murder, manslaughter, something. So should no one be held criminally responsible for that? And though that is happening more and more. That is happening more and more. Kids are having access to guns, shooting classmates, killing teachers. These are all crimes. That's not just something I just pulled out of my head. These are crimes that have happened. Who should be held responsible in that case? Like I said, federal law says the child has to be at least 7. Most state laws says they have to be at least 10. So a child cannot be held responsible. So who should be held responsible in that situation? In this case, I think the parents share some responsibility. That's what Janet says. Anybody else? Does anybody disagree? Anybody disagree and say, it's a case by case on that? I mean, maybe that's what we're here to do, share opinions. Mine is not the law. I'm not a lawmaker at all. You have to look at all surrounding circumstances leading to the crime. Well, based on the laws, a child that young doesn't have the ability to form the intent. So they're not criminally liable. So they really are not looking at that. That's not what they're investigating in that instance. You may say, well, was he mad with the child? Mr. Jackson says that is different. When parents are parenting, children should not have access to guns. The parent must educate their children on the dangers and the positives of having a gun in the home. A 6-year-old who gets a gun and goes to school and commits a crime will wholeheartedly agree that their parents are responsible. Well, all guns and houses should be locked up and completely out of the reach of children to find. I agree with you 100%, Miss Daniels. And then there was a case recently in Montgomery where the 8-year-old stole the gun, stole the car, drove, and I think he picked up some people to drop them off somewhere. This is an 8-year-old child. This is right here in Alabama. And then he shot some people with a gun. And he has done all of this. Who should be responsible? Those are questions that we have to ask ourselves, because it's going to be a bigger and bigger issue, because younger and younger people are creating more and more heinous crimes. Most of the mass shootings that occur are happening by young men. Now, a lot of them are not under the age of 17, under the age where they can be prosecuted and all of this stuff. I mean, Crumley was 15. Of course, he was convicted and is serving life in prison without parole plus 25 years. I don't know how that worked, what them 25 years won't. But anyway, but this is something that we as a society are going to have to deal with. Who's responsible when children are going out killing other children, killing adults, raping people? I mean, carjacking, all these different things. Who's responsible when your 10-year-old goes out and carjacks somebody? Who's responsible when your 8-year-old, like I said, this little boy had a busy day. He had got him a gun, he had stole him a car, and he had picked up him some riders, and I don't know who the rider was that let this 8-year-old pick them up and drop them off somewhere, but he had done that. He was obviously a good little driver. But then he ended up shooting somebody. Who's responsible for that? Cassandra Clifton says kids get into everything. So let's say parents had guns locked up and it's out of reach, but a child finds it. Can't see holding a parent responsible when due diligence was taken to keep the gun out of the reach. So if the gun's locked up, does the child have access to the key? Does the child have the combination to the code? What are you giving your child access to? I am flabbergasted how guns are so easily accessible by these children. However, when the crime happens, the parents have the tendency to be surprised. Guns should not be in the hands of children. Guns should not be in the hands of children. And I have to agree with Ms. Daniels. As a parent, if you choose to be a gun owner, knowing that you have a child in your house, it is your responsibility, 100%, to make sure, first of all, that that child knows this is not a toy. You don't touch it. And if you do, there are serious consequences. Because first of all, I don't think a lot of children realize that there are consequences for their actions. And we have to start teaching our kids once again that there are consequences, serious consequences for your action. And second of all, you make sure that gun is safe and it is secure, because you don't have to have a gun. You have a right to have a gun, but you don't have to have a gun in your house. I have never wanted a gun in my house because I have too many nieces and nephews, and I would be horrified. And that was another thing that kind of flabbergasted me with the Crumby case. And I don't know if it was just really her feelings or if that was what her defense told her to do, but it seemed like she had no remorse. I know you did not shoot these kids. And even if I don't feel like I'm responsible, my child killed these other people's children. I would be devastated. Killed the children with the gun that I purchased. I personally would have been devastated. So we may say it's not on us, but for me it would be. um, uh, after life in prison is usually only 25 years, but he got life without parole plus 24 years or 25 years. So I don't know what that was. Anyway, effective gun control prevents the child from having the combination to the safe. This is true with the gun. It's the parent's responsibility to know the danger of taking a gun away from the case, and the children have to understand that actions will result in consequences. And anyway, but like I was saying, this is something that as a society we're going to have to deal with, and because more and more kids at younger ages are committing these heinous crimes. More kids at younger ages are getting in very serious trouble. And somebody has to be held responsible. And yes, at the end of the day, we are responsible for our own actions. But if we're 10, if we're 6, I mean, it's different with the 15-year-old, because I think a 15-year-old, but this one obviously had a lot of problems going on that the parents knew about, that but just chose to ignore. But we can't just say that the 6-year-old is responsible for his actions. And I can't say, well, the school should have done this, the school should have done that, or the police should have done this, or the church should have done that. We as parents have to take responsibility for our actions, just like the children do. You made a choice to have a child. You made a choice to have to purchase a gun, to have it in your home. Then you have to take responsibility for the choices you made. You had a choice to do these things. But anyway, so I just want you guys to just think about that, because like I said, it's something that's happening more and more with younger people committing crimes. So that is just something that we need to think about. And be mindful, parents and grandparents and aunties and uncles. Be mindful and observant of your children. Know if something is wrong, if something's not right going on with your child. Know your child. Converse with your child. Let your child know that they are loved, that they are special, that they are somebody. And then and when you spend time with your child, make sure you're spending time with your child. They said this lady spent time with the horses, but she didn't spend time with her son. And then that way you know if something's not right, if something's going on, if something's wrong. And at the first sight of trouble, don't brush it off. Don't brush it off. If a child is threatening their life or somebody else's life, take it seriously. I had a friend of mine. Her child was threatening their life. Her doctors told her, yes, she will kill you or herself. Get her some help. She's dangerous to you. Don't brush it off. Don't brush it off. We don't want to think of our children as being dangerous, but they can be. Some parents have low IQs. What about those? Yeah. But that's why that village is so important, because when the parent can't, they need someone to stand in the gap that can. They need someone to stand in the gap that can, and that's why that village that we're missing is so important. All righty then. So thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. We did want to say a couple of things. Divinely Guided podcast. It's a great podcast. A great podcast featuring Joyce Thomas Vincent and Adriel Vincent and mother-daughter team, and they talk about self-care. And it is Mr. Jackson is going to put that in the chat, that link in the chat, and it comes out every Monday. So y'all subscribe to Divinely Guided YouTube channel so you can get this podcast, Divinely Guided. All right. And if you all please don't mind subscribing to Juju's YouTube channel, and we can move this over to YouTube so we can do some different things and add in some, we can put up some, I can put up some statistics and stuff like that, but I got to get my viewers up first. So if you all would kindly subscribe to Juju's, it's at Juju Dollhouse, but Mr. Jackson is going to put that link in the chat as well, and go there and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Also, we have a couple of community announcements. St. Luke will be having a fish fry on March the 15th. St. Grammy Church will be selling whiting plates for $12 and catfish plates for $15. It will be 11 to 3. You can pre-order you a plate from any member of St. Luke, and that is March the 15th. And then also, guys, I almost forgot. My birthday is this week, Tuesday. I will be 55 on March the 5th. Hey, one time for the birthday girl. Hey, two times for the birthday girl. Hey, three times for the birthday girl. Go, 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 go. But anyway, I will be 55 on the 5th. And so I am asking all of my friends and my followers if they would please donate $5 to St. Luke AME Church's building fund. And you can cash out that to the church cash out. Mr. Jackson will be putting that in the chat. That's $STLUKE Opelika. And $5 and just say on the 4 line for happy birthday, Juju. And I would appreciate that. And thank you so much to those who have already given. The response has been overwhelming. You all have already blown my mind. So if you have not had an opportunity to give, please do so. Mr. Jackson, am I missing anything tonight?
No, you're not. But I just wanted to tell you what a great job you're doing to create some traction around many hot topics. And this was very, very engaging and intellectual. I learned a lot, and it made me think a little bit. But other than that, everything was wonderful. Thanks to Crystal Staples for coming in. Thanks to all of the wonderful, engaging comments from our viewers. Happy early birthday, Julia. 55 is looking really good on you. I want everybody to do as you have requested. What is $5? We spend $5 just on junk going into the store, just on junk, not even on necessity. So let's take and support Julia in her 55th birthday by donating $5 over to the building fund for St. Luke African Methodist Episcopal Church in Opelika. It's a worthy cause. Now, I want to put a plug in for something that's coming up in June, our annual Juneteenth celebration, which is going to be June 15th. You've already seen traction about it. We're going to continue to flood your minds, your spirits, your hearts, because we want to do something that will make not only God proud, but us proud. We need to really talk and understand what Juneteenth is all about. So we've got a lot of wonderful ideas. So we're looking forward. We're going to be sending out and flooding your timelines with save the dates. But the date is solidified. It's June 15th, 2024, on the grounds of St. Luke on Auburn Street here in Opelika from 11 a.m. Central Standard Time to 3 p.m. We're looking forward to you coming out and fellowshipping with us. There will be lots of vendors, a lot of food, lots of entertainment. We're calling all of our Divine Nine, all of our churches to come out and be supportive, and let's get together and have a great time.
Okay.
So, Juju, thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson, and you guys, thank you for joining me tonight. Join me next week, and I'm going to rope my brother-in-law in. He doesn't even know it because he said to vaccinate or not to vaccinate. That is the question. So we're going to deal with that next week. Should we or should we not? Should we or should we not vaccinate our children? To vaccinate or not to vaccinate next week. But anyway, thank you guys for joining me tonight. I have really enjoyed it. Of course, this is Juju. I'm Juju. I am that mountain moving giant slayer. Uh, and until next time, I wish you much love and many blessings. Good night.